There you go. Can you hear me now? Flip. Okay. So I'll have to do that all over again. There's always something I forget to do. Hello, everybody. Take two. So I thought this Sunday afternoon I'd do a little bit of a football test, testing me on my technical prowess. Firstly, failed there. But anyway, ahead of Man U versus Liverpool at after 4 o'clock, I thought I'd do a little bit of a Premier League test, if you like, with an emphasis on Liverpool Man U. Okay, so for those of you still here, you're very welcome. So, gosh, good start, Vincent. Good start. For those of you tuning in to Vincent's Kitchen Quiz for the first time, you're very, very welcome. The answers are dead simple. Discuss your answers with your teammates, both near and remote. And there only is one golden rule, a side of no cheating or Googling, which you'll be tempted to. Just resist. There's the golden rule. No answers on the feed. So if you're a smart football fan and you think you know all about Premier League, Man U and Liverpool, just keep the answers to yourselves. And at the end of each round, let us know how well you're doing. So we've got 3 rounds. Round number 1 is Man U players, Liverpool players. You get some clues, you identify the players. We've got, what else have I got? I've got the rather unusual players who played for both clubs. We've got a few questions on that, and then a couple of managers of both Man U and Liverpool. Then we'll do a sandwich picture round in the middle. 6 Liverpool players, identify them, and 6 Man U players, identify them. And then round 3 is a more generic Premier League quizzy thing. So 3 Premier League records, 3 transfers, identify the players, 3 grounds, and 3 promoted teams. So a bit of a mixed bag. Premier League, and with an emphasis, particularly in round 1, of Man U and Liverpool, the fans who love each other most. Okay, shall we get cracking? There's about 28, 30 points available. I can't give you the exact number of points. I can, but I won't, because there's a question or two where you could have more than one answer. But anyway, enough of me blethering on. So, identify these 3 Man United players. We'll start there. So, question 1. You're very welcome. With 13 Premier League winners' medals, which Man U player has the most? Which Man United player has the most Premier League medals? 13. Is your question 1 Man U? Cup of tea on a Sunday afternoon. Man United question number 2. Man United's top goal scorer in their treble-winning season 98-99. Who was Man U's top goal scorer in their treble-winning season 98-99? Top goal scorer in that treble-winning season. Hey Bernie, Billy and Nigel. Hey Vanessa. Hey Joanne. And those people on the website. And Man United player, identify Man United player number 3 with 461 appearances. Who is Manchester United's longest ever serving captain? Longest ever serving captain in the club's history, 461 appearances. The player, please. So there's your 3 Man U players from the clues, and we'll do a quick recap at the end of each round. 4, 5 and 6. We move across Lancashire to Liverpool players. So identify these 3 Liverpool players from the clues. After Ian Callaghan which Liverpool player has the second most club appearances? He also, to help you, holds the record for most European appearances. So, Liverpool player, second to Ian Callaghan in the most appearances for the Reds, Liverpool Reds. Who is that Liverpool player? And he also holds the record for most European appearances. Good, Vanessa. Hey, Billy. Good afternoon. Hey, Nigel. Okay, that's Liverpool player number one. Liverpool player number two. Which Liverpool player is Liverpool's record European goal scorer? Which Liverpool player is Liverpool's record European goal scorer? And Liverpool player number three. Liverpool player number three. Which European player was Liverpool's skipper between 2000 and 2003? Liverpool team captain 2000-2003. This European player is your Liverpool player number three. Hey, Geraldine. Hey, Jay. Okay, your next set of three. Players who've played for both clubs. It's a rare thing. So there's three of them. The question is, which club or clubs was sandwiched in the middle? Okay, so the three players who played for both clubs, you have to figure out the club or clubs they played for between the two. Does that make sense? So Paul Ince played for both Liverpool and Manchester United, but the club or clubs he played for in between. Player number two who's played for both clubs, Michael Owen. The club or clubs he played for in the middle. And player number three, who's played for both clubs, Peter Beardsley. Peter Beardsley has played for both Manchester United and Liverpool, but the club or clubs he played for in between. Excuse me. Okay, and so after the Paul Ince, Michael Owen, Peter Beardsley clubs in the middle, we've got two, one of each, because we're very fair. One Man U, one Liverpool, on their managers. So, Man United manager number one. Who replaced David Moyes temporarily before Louis van Gaal was appointed? Who replaced David Moyes temporarily before Louis van Gaal was appointed? So, who was Man United's manager after they get rid of David Moyes, who's moved on to much better things these days, before Louis van Gaal was appointed. And again, we move across Lancashire. Who was Liverpool's manager after Graham Souness and before Gerard Houllier? Who was Liverpool's manager after Graham Souness and before Gerard Houllier? 94 until 98. Okay, so let's put your questions up. So just take your time and revisit those. So your Man United players with 13, Man United's player with most Premier League winners' medals, treble winning season 98-99, Man United's top goal scorer in that particular season with 46. Do you know, on my keyboard my one's not working today? So 461 appearances. Man United's longest serving captain in the club's history. Then your Liverpool players after Ian Callaghan. Which player has most European appearances and holds the record for most European appearances? The Liverpool player, Liverpool's record European goal scorer. Which European player was Liverpool's skipper from 2000 until 2003? Missed it. A 0. And players who played for both clubs. The club or clubs in the middle. Paul Ince, Michael Owen and Peter Beardsley. And then who replaced David Moyes temporarily before Louis van Gaal was appointed, and who was Liverpool's manager after Graham Souness and before Gerard Houllier? So in that first round, well, because you don't know the clubs Paul Ince, Michael Owen, Peter Beardsley in between, I can't reveal the exact number of points, but let's find out. So here's your answers. Sorry, I didn't highlight the answers. So good luck. There were 13 points in that round. Ryan Giggs is the record holder in terms of Premier League medals. Dwight York. Well done, anybody who got Dwight York as their leading goal scorer in season 98-99, that treble winning year. Brian Robson was the longest serving skipper in Man U's history. Your Liverpool questions. Jamie Carragher is the club appearance and European holder. Steven Gerrard is the record European goal scorer for Liverpool. And did you get Sami Hyypiä? Was Liverpool's skipper from 01 until 03. Paul Ince, the club in the middle. Well done if you dug out Inter Milan. Michael Owen, Real Madrid and Newcastle United. And your tricky one, Peter Beardsley, in between. There were two clubs. Well done if anybody got Vancouver Whitecaps and Newcastle United. Newcastle was obvious, Vancouver Whitecaps less so. And David Moyes' temporary successor before Louis van Gaal, well done if you remembered Ryan Giggs. And Roy Evans was the Liverpool manager. So there were 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points available in that first round. So post your team names and your scores. Stephen on 10, well done. The Friars up in Derry on 12. Keep posting your team names and your scores on our live feed, preferably on our website and also on Facebook Live. And we're on YouTube, but I don't happen to have that feed on my screen, so good luck. How did you get on? Well done, Desi. Good afternoon. Hey, Parker House. Good afternoon. So now we have players for both clubs. 12 images, 6 Liverpool players. Do you remember them? And 6 Man U players. Mac Jacks morphed to Ball Jacks. Clever. Sideways. Segways. Billy. Because you're a football specialist this afternoon. Okay, 12 players. Identify them dead simple. Player number 1. Good luck. Liverpool, first time around. Who's this? The Baggies on 10. I wonder who that is. Husty on 10. Liverpool player number 2. Who's this? Some tricky ones in here. Liverpool player number 3. Who's this? Number 4. Liverpool player. Who's this? Number 5 of 6 Liverpool players, and then we'll do the other side of the friendly divide. Who's this Liverpool player? Okay, there's another Liverpool player coming up in the presentation later on, but because my keyboard number 1 was bust, uh, not quite perfect order. So we move sideways now to Man U players. 6 of them, and a Liverpool player coming up to make it 6 each. Because we're very fair here. Man U player number 1. Do you remember this guy? Who's this? Number 2. Remember this? Man U player number 3. Who's this? Next Man U player. No, this is the missing Liverpool player I referred to who should have been in the first 6, so just not quite perfect order. I do like things perfect. Remember this Liverpool player, the final one of their 6, and then we'll pop back for the Man United remaining ones. Liverpool player. Who's this? And back to Man U players. Remember this guy? This guy? And your final player, Man U. Who's this? Okay, so let's do a very quick fly through. 6 Liverpool, 6 Man U. Identify these players. Quick reminder. Fairly recent past. How did you get on? Well, here, let's find out. So 12 points in that round, obviously. 1 point for each correct identification. So that would give you a running total at the halfway point of 25. Good luck. So there were some, tricky enough ones. Did you get Biscan, Milan Baros, Luis Garcia, Daniel Agger, Ryan Babel, Ronnie Johnson, Henning Berg, Quinton Fortune, Sander Westerveld, Louis Saha, Marcus Rojo, and Antonia Valencia. So there were your 12 players. So out of 25, let us know how well you're getting on in your Sunday afternoon precursor to a little match happening in about an hour's time. So this is good. It's a little test to see about more specific quizzes. Every Friday night, here's our chance. If you're new to this platform, we do a quizzy quiz. Been doing it for months. And Saturday evening, we do a party quiz with an after party. Name that tune. So we'll maybe slot in the odd individual, more specific quiz over the next few weeks. Stay tuned. And go to our website, subscribe to YouTube, and on the website you can get all the old archived quizzes if you're really sad or you miss one. And we generally do on this day, each day, and there's also some donation baskets for or selected charities. All taking shape. So, thank you. Okay, well done, William. 24, Sandbaggers 23, Cahies 15, Husty 17, Stevie 16, Stephen, Brady 19, Parker House, 24 out of 25, and the Baggies on 18. Final round. Your matinee. Yeah, your quiz matinee. Premier League. So we do a bit more generic Premier League stuff. Okay, so we've got what I call just take all the Liverpool players and only one Man U. Hardly surprising. Has he ever watched them apart from they're playing Liverpool? Okay, Premier League record breakers. 3 questions on Premier League record breakers. Premier League record breaker, one that the team in question wouldn't be proud of. Season 05-06 with only 7 points. 7 home points. This is the fewest home points of any team in Premier League history in a season. Name this side. 2005-2006, they only accumulated 7 points at home for the entire season. Is your record breaker Premier League number 1? Name the side. 05-06, 7 home points in total for the whole season. Is your Premier League record breaker number 1? Premier League record breaker number 2. The lowest ever Premier League attendance was in January 1993. The lowest ever Premier League appearance. It was between Wimbledon and Everton. So, William, I was going to say that's because Everton were the team, but that would be unfair, but funny. So, your question is, there was only something like 8,000 people turned up to watch Wimbledon play Everton. Your question is, where was this match played? Wimbledon versus Everton, January 93, holds the record for the lowest ever Premier League attendance, something like 8,000 people. Sorry, that excludes COVID. Wimbledon playing Everton, January 93, but your question is, the ground, where was this match being played? Is your Premier League record breaker number 2? Premier League record breaker number 3. With 653, who holds the record for most? Which player holds the record for most Premier League appearances? The player who's played in the Premier League more games than anyone else. Who's that? Okay, so that's your first 3. Your fewest accumulated home points in the season, 05-06. Your lowest ever Premier League attendance or crowd before COVID. January 93, Wimbledon were playing Everton. There was only something like 8,000 fans. Where was that match actually played? We'll test your Premier League history. And then, which player holds the record with most Premier League appearances? 4, 5 and 6. 3 players. You have to identify these 3 players with their transfer movements. Does that make sense? So I give you the various clubs that they've played for, excluding any loans. Okay, so permanent transfers. I give you the teams, and then you identify through the migration transfer process, you figure out the player. Okay. Question 4, or transfer movement number 1. This player, we started at Bournemouth. So jot these down. Bournemouth, then Burnley, then Liverpool, Southampton. The player, Bournemouth to Burnley to Liverpool and latterly Southampton. Is your player from transfer movements number 1? So just jot those down. And they're in order. Bournemouth, Burnley, Liverpool, Southampton. Premier League player from transfers number 2. We start with Burnley, different player. Burnley, then Southampton. It's a different player, guys. Burnley, Southampton, the Baggies, West Brom, Billy. And back to Burnley. Who's this? Burnley, Southampton, West Bromwich Albion, and back to Burnley. Who's that? Tricky. Tricky. Identify the player from transfer movements number 3. Man U. So we start with Man U. Then we go to Highfield Road, or whatever it's called, Coventry City, Aston Villa. There's a few here. Man U, Coventry, Villa, Leicester City, Celtic, Norwich. Who's that? So write these down. Man U, Coventry, Villa, Leicester City, Celtic, Norwich City. Who's that from the transfer process number 3? And we'll do a quick recap at the end, guys. So there's your 3 players from transfers. Last one, a few clubs there. All the permanent moves these players have made respectively: Bournemouth, Burnley, Liverpool, Southampton, player number 1. Player number 2, Burnley, Southampton, West Brom, and back to Burnley. And player number 3, Man U, Coventry City, Aston Villa, Leicester City, Celtic, and then ending up at Carrow Road, Norwich City. Who's that Premier League player? Okay, so we're doing good for your football matinee warm-up. And your next set of 3. 3 grounds, 3 clubs. All of these clubs have appeared at some stage or another in the Premier League. So I give you the 3 grounds, you give me the 3 clubs. Ground number 1, the club, please. Kirklees or John Smith's Stadium, the club. Kirklees or, sponsor, John Smith's Stadium. I'm looking for the club from the ground. Ground number 2, club number 2. KCOM Stadium, the KCOM Stadium, your Premier League club number 2. KCOM. All of these clubs have appeared in the Premier League at one time or another. Who played or plays at the KCOM Stadium? And finally, the club, Bloomfield Road. Bloomfield Road is your, at one time or another, Premier League club from the ground number 3. Bloomfield Road. Okie doke, send your final 3 in our little football quiz this afternoon. There are 6 clubs who hold the record of 4 promotions. So the record of number of promotions is 4, and 6 clubs hold that record. So they've been promoted 4 times. So I'm going to give you 3, and you have to figure out the missing 3 who tie on 4 promotions to the Premier League. So jot these down. And then with the missing ones, I'm also going to give you the seasons, the 4 seasons, not Frankie Valley, that they got promoted. That might help you along. So the 3 clubs I'm going to give you that have been promoted 4 times out of 6, jot these down. Sunderland, West Brom, and Norwich City. So those are the 3 that I'm going to give you out of the 6. Sunderland, West Brom, and Norwich. So you're looking for the missing 3 of the 6 clubs who tie on 4 promotions to the Premier League. The missing 3 clubs, other than Sunderland, West Brom, and Norwich. Now, if you think it helps, I'll give you the seasons they were promoted. Do you think that would help? Do you think? If you do, here's the seasons the missing one was promoted. 91-92. Season 94-95. Season 07-08. And most recently, this club who's promoted 4 times was 15-16. So those were the seasons for that first missing club. 91-92 season, 94-95 season, 07-08 season, and 2015-2016 season. That's missing club number 1. Missing club number 2, if you think it helps, giving the seasons, the 4 promotions, 93-94, 96-97, 03-04, and season 2012-2013 is the most recent for your missing club number 2 of 6 who've been promoted 4 times. And your final club, if the seasons help, who've been promoted 4 times, the 4 seasons respectively that they were promoted, 93-94, then again 95-96, 02-03, and most recently 2013-2014. So other than Sunderland, West Brom and Norwich, we're looking for 3 clubs who've been promoted 4 times. Okay, let's recap on all of that final round in writing. Good luck, guys. So, 7 points, fewest ever home points in a season, 05-06. Who's that? Lowest ever Premier League attendance was January 93 when the Toffees went to the Crazy Gang. The ground, please. 653 most Premier League appearances. Who is your player? Transfers, name the players. Bournemouth, Burnley, Liverpool, Southampton. Burnley, Southampton, West Brom, back to Burnley. Must have loved Turf Moor. Man U, Coventry, Villa, Leicester City, Celtic, and finishing up at Norwich City. Who's that? Your Premier League grounds. Kirklees Stadium or John Smith Stadium, the Cacom Stadium and Bloomfield Road. Your 3 clubs respectively. And then other than Sunderland, West Brom and Norwich, we're looking for the 3 clubs who've been promoted 4 times. There's 6 of them. I give you Sunderland, I give you West Brom, and I give you Norwich. Which 3 clubs have I not given you? So that would be 3, 6, 9, 12 points there on top. Is that a total therefore of 37 you could have scored this afternoon? Yeah, 2 12s and a 13. Would be 37 points. In your Premier League, who are the smartest football fans version number 1? So, if you want to tidy that up, here's your answers. Good luck. So, the club who had only 7 points at home in an entire season, 05-06, was Sunderland. Well done. That Crazy Gang against Everton was played at Selhurst Park. Gareth Barry is your record breaker in terms of appearances, number 653. Players from the transfers. Danny Ings was your player number 1. Well done if anybody figured out Jay Rodriguez, and Dion Dublin played for all those clubs in that order. Huddersfield Town play at Kirklees, John Smith's. Hull City, well done if you figured that one out, Cacom, and Blackpool FC, Bloomfield Road. You're missing 3 clubs of 6 with 4 promotions other than Sunderland, West Brom and Norwich. Middlesbrough, Crystal Palace, and yes, Leicester City. So keep posting your scores out of 37, guys. Hope that was a good little exercise. Excuse the lack of volume at the beginning. And stay tuned for future events, Friday and Saturday as always, and maybe more specialist quizzes over the next few weeks at Vincent's Kitchen Quiz. Go onto our website, subscribe to YouTube, it's all free, and you can donate if you want to our charities and to this project. So enjoy what's left of your weekend. Have a safe week, guys. Well done, Joanne. Enjoy what's left of your weekend. Enjoy your week. Keep posting your scores. And well played. Well played. Tough enough. Tough. See you soon. Well, you'll see me.